I would like to call to order the Board of Education meeting for Tuesday, May 6, 2025. Are there any speakers related to closed session topics? Thank you. Seeing none, the board will convene to closed session. The board will now convene open session and report out from closed session. Open session of the Board of Education meeting is live on YouTube. Visit the NHUSD Board of Education webpage for the link. If you're attending online via Zoom, use the raise hand feature to indicate you wish to provide public comment. Phone participants should press *9 to be added to the queue and wait to be called on. Community members may submit public comments to the board via email at publiccomment@nhusd.k12.ca.us before each meeting. The board received no public comments via email for tonight's meeting. I would like to remind the public that the board will not be responding to questions posed by those making public comments. Relative to closed session, items 3.1 and 3.4, the board took no action. Relative to item 3.2, the board unanimously voted to approve an agreement to resolve LL Jane Doe v. New Haven USD, case number 22CVO 22914, Alameda County Superior Court, settled for $500,000 in exchange for a dismissal of entire action with prejudice. Relative to item 3.3, the board unanimously voted to approve the following appointments. 1, Abigail Coatzin to the Director of Educational Options. 2, Megan Foster to an elementary position at Kitayama Elementary School. And 3, Matt Harris to an elementary principal position at Delane Easton Elementary School. I will now pass it over to Vice President Rafay to lead item 5.
Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States
and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Someday.
Roll call, please.
Here.
Here.
Here. Here.
Here.
Here.
Here.
May I have a motion and a second to approve tonight's agenda?
So moved. Wait. I did it wrong.
Second.
If mic is off. Seeing no discussions, could we have a roll call, please?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
And then acknowledgement. We want to open up this meeting by acknowledging with respect and love that the land we are on today is the traditional ancestral homeland of the Ohlone Chochenyo First People. We recognize and thank the Ohlone people as original stewards of this land. Indigenous people must not be spoken about in past contexts as if they left on their own accord, when the real causes were white supremacy, manifest destiny, and U.S. colonization. By recognizing we stand on the occupied indigenous territory of Ohlone people, we recommit ourselves to listen to Native leadership and stand in solidarity with people struggling against systems of oppression throughout the world, past and present. Now I'll hand it over to President Kumar.
Thank you, Vice President Rafay. We're going to move on to item 6.1, public comment on topics that are not on the agenda. Do we have any blue cards for topics not on the agenda?
One blue card. Gavin Smith.
Administrative staff and members in the community. As a teacher at Logan, I just wanted to come and talk on behalf of myself and people that I know that we're really appreciative of the technology department that we have here in our district. Frank Delapo has been working very hard on I don't know about the other locations, but at Logan, there's been Wi-Fi issues, and he's been very responsive to concerns. His team is very responsive to staff, and I just wanted to let you guys know and also the community know that it's greatly appreciated. Thank you.
Thanks, Gavin, and shout out to Frank. All right, are there any blue cards for topics on the agenda?
No blue cards.
Any speakers on Zoom? All right, thank you. We're going to move on to item 8, reports from our labor partners. Do we have the CSCA rep or president? No. Do we have anyone from NHTA? Yay.
Good evening. Hi, I'm Kimberly DeBono, interim NHTA president. Hi, everybody. And I just wanted to come up and say that continue the kudos and thank you for the work that we are doing together. We appreciate one being included in the interview process of the leaders of our schools. So that is really important to us. And so we were thankful that we were included. The other piece that we wanted to also talk about is all the work that we and her team did to work with us on having a successful PD process. It was a first process. It was the first time doing it. So there were some bumps in the road, but I think including us and letting us make a decision on which day would be best, we appreciate that too. So we just wanted to come today to say thank you for that. And we really want to continue to work together on things and solve problems together because everything's not always rainbows and butterflies. But if we continue to work together, we'll get through all those things that we need to with the kids at the center of what we all do. So thank you. And
Hi, everybody. My name is Shane Henderson. I am the president-elect of NHTA that'll be starting in July, and I just wanted to say hello and show my face, and I look forward to working with all of you. And hopefully we can continue in the spirit of collaboration that we have been working with and toward lately. That's it. Thank you.
Thank you, NHTA members. We're going to move on to item 9.1 and 9.2. We'd like to recognize our student board members, Trustee Buenaflor and Trustee Waka. They have done a phenomenal job. You know, they, like all high school students, have a lot going on, but they've taken the time to attend meetings and contribute to this. So thank you so much. We're going to have a couple of motions, and then we'd like to come up front and recognize you. So we'll start with item 9.1. May I have a motion and second to adopt resolution number 0542425, recognition of student board member Benji Buenaflor.
So move.
Second.
Discussion? All in favor, we're going to vote on this. Okay, all right. So we're going to vote online. All in favor, or please go ahead and vote. Trustee Irby?
Oh, yes, I hit aye.
We've been having glitches with the system. We're trying. It passed. Yay. Shocking. All right, item 9.2, may I have a motion and second to adopt resolution number 0552425, recognition of student board member Mele Waka.
So moved.
Second.
Please go ahead and vote. Discussion? Motion carries. All right, awesome. Do any board members have anything to say before we get up front? Trustee Rafay? Yeah. Like you want to say something.
Okay. So, Benji, you've been very proactive with the school updates and punctual with your time. UC Berkeley is lucky to have you join them, and I wish you all the best in your future endeavors. And Trustee Mele, thanks for sharing the upcoming events in your school. And now you're off to cosmetology school. Congrats. And which definitely sounds much more fun than I'm sure your high school. Yes, I wish you all the best. Thanks.
Thanks, Trustee Rafay. Does anyone else have any comments?
Go ahead.
Trustee Vaca, it's been an honor and pleasure working with you. I know our time is very short. Looking forward to your graduation coming up soon. And Benji, I'll speak on your next, when your resolution comes up next. Or are they lumped together?
We did both.
Well, it's been an honor and pleasure working with you. Our time was very short here together. Thank you for reaching out to me, and my niece had nothing but good things to say about you. So,
All right, any other comments? All right. If everyone could just step up front, so we. Thank you, everyone. We're going to move on to item 9.3. We're now going to have a presentation from the Director of Food and Nutrition Services, Yaz Widatala.
Test. Good evening, members of the board, President Kumar. Thanks for having me. I haven't been up here in 2 years. I hope to do this every year going forward, however. And let's get started. My name is Yaz Widatala. I am a Director of Food and Nutrition Services. Been here about almost 5 years now. Is it awake? There we go. So some topics that we're going to cover this evening. Financials, LCAP results. We'll talk about what we did as a team in FNS this year and what we're going to do next year and beyond that. And you'll note the picture up there. That was School Lunch Hero Day. That's a team over at James Logan High School. So a quick overview of the department. 44 staff in total, consists of a director, supervisor. I have managers, cafeteria assistants, custodians, leads. So it's a whole plethora of different classified staff that run the FNS. Something that we did this year that we improved on from the previous 2 years, working with personnel and CSEA. They're not here, CSEA is not here today, but thank you to CSEA for helping me with this. We now have all of our staff at least 4 hours. When I first arrived here, we had 1 hour staff, 2 hour staff. But I can proudly say, aside from one staff member who wishes to stay 2.5 hours, all of my staff are benefited and or at least 4 hours. So what do? We serve 7,500 meals on a daily basis. The meals consist of breakfast, lunch, and dinner. We also serve snack. We average about 400 snacks a day. And to really put this into perspective, throughout the whole year, it's projected, and I'm pretty good with my numbers when I project, we're going to be around 1.3, a little over 1.3 million meals served to our students. A huge jump from what we used to do 4 or 5 years ago, and that's not including snacks. Another note to add is that for the second year in a row, we have no pull from the general fund, meaning that that is more money that goes to the classrooms, right? We're no longer an expense to the district. I'm able to afford my own things. So if I go out and I buy a fridge or if I buy an oven, it's with my money. I'm not taking the money from the district, which is a great thing, and I hope to continue it. In fact, I can confidently say we are in a surplus now, and we're going to be in a surplus next year as well. Another note to add is I do receive a majority of my funding is from the CDE, the DOD, and the USDA. So it's a little different than the funding from like other departments. So right into the LCAP results. So student responses and parent responses are up there, and you can take a look. The question that was asked was along the lines of, how would you rate the quality of student meals? So you can see an increase in good, adequate, and excellent responses from 2023 up until now. The same can be said with parent responses. With food, it's tricky, right? Because if you ask me the question, does this particular food, does food in general need to be improved? My answer is probably going to be, yeah, it needs improvement. My answer will continue to be, yeah, it needs improvement for as long as I'm a director. There's always room to improve when it comes to food. But overall, I'd say it's a pretty positive LCAP response. I would like to see the number a little bit higher with students. 2/3 would make me very happy. And parents, around 75%, I think would be a good goal to hit. It's part of my KPIs for next year, my key performance indicators for the department, and hopefully we can make it next year. If not, the year after. But more importantly, from these results, I like to read the comments, right? And I like to read the comments that can help me make the food better for next year. The comments aren't surprising, and we'll get right to it. From the students, basically better school lunch, and from the parents, healthier school options. The conundrum of food services, right? So, I mean, yes, that's exactly what we need to do. I agree with them. I need to make them more healthier. At the same time, I need to make them taste good and make them more appealing. And that's the goal. And that will always be the goal of food and nutrition services, nutrient dense foods that is appealing, that kids want to eat. However, there is a fine line that we have to thread when it comes to, do we want it too healthy and they don't eat? Or do we want a bunch of junk food that they eat, but the parents and myself, because I'm a parent, my kids go here, I don't want them necessarily to eat junk as well. So always something that we're going to continue to work on. So what did we do this year? Why did our counts go up? Why am I still in a surplus? Well, for one, we're moving away from individually wrapped items. I talked about this a couple of years ago. We no longer do that in elementary schools. We do it for some items for breakfast that we're it's very hard to move away from. And we do it for supper for this year. And our goal next year is actually not to do any wrapped items for supper. And eventually we're going to pull away from breakfast. You'll notice in the pictures, there's 3 levels of cooking. There's bulk service, which we do in elementary schools. That's no wrapped items. There's scratch cooking, which what we do in the middle schools somewhat, and in the high schools for the most part. And that's taking like that's not Vanessa. No, that is Vanessa. Excuse me. That's Vanessa in that middle picture. She's taking rice that they prepared at CCMS. So they actually cooked that rice and vegetables and made it fresh in the kitchen. Nikki, that's James Logan High School, with the muffins. That's speed scratch. So she did make those muffins from the batter. She added her blueberries. She added her, I think one of them, she added chocolate chips. But those are things that we hope to do across all school sites. And it's very difficult to do in elementary schools, but we'll get there. And I'll talk about how we'll get there. Another thing that we did we call it a culinary experience, and what we did is we reached out to the SPED teachers and asked them, how can we help the SPED department? So you'll notice these pictures are SPED students. That first picture is Alvarado, and my son was in it, but he ran out of the photo. But let me tell you, it was great. I went to a couple of them, and seeing the SPED students make their own pizza and eat it afterwards, knowing that they made it. I mean, it was wonderful. The staff had fun. My staff had fun. The kids had fun. So we hope to continue it. We hope to expand it. I want to move it into middle schools, and I want to do other things other than pizza. So stay tuned for years to come. Waste reduction is also something that we focused on. So we no longer have packets when it comes to condiments. We use dispensers. We no longer have packages when it comes to cereal. We use dispensers as well. You also notice that silver fridge next to the cereal dispenser is a milk dispenser. That's something that we launched this year, and we'll finish it next year. This is a huge waste reduction component as well. Kids aren't throwing away their milk anymore. They're taking as much as they want. And if they want more, they can go back and get refills. We launched it at 6 schools, and we should launch them at all the schools by the end of May. And we should be hopefully cartonless next year, aside from shelf-stable milk that we use for field trips. There's also the 3-component system that we have there, the recycle, compost, and trash. I'm sure we're all familiar with that. My goal is to get rid of that middle one. I don't want to see the trash bin there at all. I did it at my previous district, and I think I can do it here. We can do only compost and recycling. It's possible. And then equipment upgrades. I told you I had a surplus of money, so I spent it. I spent it wisely. I made sure that whatever I bought, I got a return on. So I upgraded all of our ovens in elementary schools. I finally bought all new carts because my custodian kept asking me for them, so I finally did it. But we replaced every single cart in the district, and we got warmers for all of the entire district. So that's elementary, middle school, and high school. So that's what we did this year. What are we going to do next year and beyond? So I think everyone by now knows that the Mary Cardoza Center is moving over to James Logan High School. We just received a health permit, I believe, last week, so we are ready to move. Furniture just came in. I need to buy a couple things like some tables and chairs, but we will be moving in the summer. And the purpose of this kitchen, just to remind everyone, it's so that we can scratch cook and serve the elementary school students. Unfortunately, the kitchens in elementary schools aren't really designed to cook, so we'll be cooking here. 25, 26 projects. I want to remodel James Logan High School, the snack bar area, and I did, and it'll open in August. We just need to do a couple touch-ups. I couldn't get a good picture, but that's what Snack Bar, it used to be called Snack Bar 3, and that's what it looks like now. And then I do want to remodel IVC and CCMS next year. I have the funds for it. I'm already working with the kitchen designer, and I hope to make it look like that picture over there, that James Logan picture, except maybe without the Colt. I also want to move into scratch cooking. It's going to take a while, but eventually I don't see why we can't scratch cook everywhere. That's over at James Logan. She's making a cauliflower medley. No reason why we can't do that in elementary schools, in the middle schools as well. We want to up our catering game. We use those excess, actually that wasn't excess funds. That was a grant I was awarded by the state, and we used it and we purchased a catering truck. That's Daryl, that supervisor, very proud of the truck that he just got. And we hope to utilize it soon. I have some space for a garden in the new central kitchen. So that's my next goal too. I want an outdoor garden. I also want an indoor garden. I do have grant money that I'm going to receive next year for an indoor garden. And my outdoor garden, I'm pretty sure I can do that myself with my staff because they're excited to get to it. And then lastly, I mentioned the culinary experience for elementary and middle schools. I didn't forget about high school. So I want to up the game a little bit for high school. So our central kitchen is right next to the SPED department. And in my last district, I was able to bring in SPED students that actually worked in the kitchen. They worked in the kitchen, they got food cards, and they actually ended up working in places like Flagship, which is Facebook, or Bon Appetit, which is Google. So it created a pathway for them. So I want to bring that to this district as well, and I'm pretty sure we can do it. Sarah Krappler is great to work with. And that's about it for next year. Some quick legislative updates. In case you've heard it, because it's going to float around, it's going to be on the news. SumBucks, which is a summer EBT program, the state has come up with a plan, and it was accepted by the USDA that schools will administer this program in a sense that we will be collecting applications and qualifying people. I'll be taking the lead on that, and we've already developed we have a web portal in the process to be opened up for families to apply. Federal grants. We did see one grant disappear from the USDA. It's called the Local Food for Schools grant. Unfortunately, I don't see it coming back. Maybe with the new administration, it'll come back in later years. But it won't really affect us in the sense that I'm not going to have, local foods on the salad bar. We have enough funds to continue that. It's just a shame that the grant, disappeared. There was AB 2316, which is California School Food Safety Act. Now that's the Red Dye Act. We didn't really have any dyes in our foods. However, I just noticed that we did have dyes in the chicken patties, which they've reformulated, and they now dye it with paprika. So I'm a fan of this bill. I'm glad it's passed. And as of, I want to say 3 months ago, we don't serve anything with red dyes. And then there's another piece of legislation that is somewhat confusing. It's called pupil nutrition, but it really centers around ultra processed foods. Coincidentally, I sit on something called CNAC, and I work closely with the state. And we come up with different ways and ideas and how these legislative how these assembly bills that come up can be better implemented in schools. So hopefully it's a smooth process, but that's going to be in the news a lot too. Ultra processed foods in schools. It'll come up a lot, and I think by next year there'll be a more solid bill that's going to pass. Governor executive order also relates to that. I think the governor just recently asked that more research be conducted and kind of defined what an ultra processed food is, and that'll help us as well draft legislation. Other than that, no federal changes, knock on wood. Other than the federal grant from the USDA being cut, there was no federal changes to the SMP program. So that's good news. Hopefully they don't change anything else. Yeah. But yes, thank you for your time. Questions? No?
Does anyone have questions?
I'm sorry, there was one last slide.
Oh.
I didn't know if I had enough time for it. But it's just basically pictures from Earth Day. Yeah.
Those are great. I have to say, as a busy mom of 3 who has a full-time job, I have 3 students at NHUSD. Thank you. It's, they've gone from not wanting school lunches. You've taken school lunches to a whole new level. They come back and tell me, Mom, can you make herb potatoes like what we get in school? Then, so thank you. Thank you. Does anyone else have comments or questions?
I just wanted to say I really appreciated the food choices during Ramadan. That was huge. And Lent.
Yeah.
Yes, that was amazing.
Thank you.
Very much appreciated.
Thank you.
I really like the way you've got to the milk dispenser, the cereal dispenser, like cutting down on landfill. I really appreciate it. That's huge. Thanks so much. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Everything that they said. Thanks.
Thank you, yes.
Yeah. Was it? There we go.
All right, we're going to move on to item 9.4. We have a presentation on the NHUSD end of the year report.
All right, I'm going to take the lead on that and then turn it over to my team. So every year we like to give the board an update on what we've done in terms of making progress towards our strategic plan and the goals within the strategic plan. And it is already amazingly that time of year. So let's see if I can advance this. Oh boy. Here we go. Okay, so these are the 3 areas we're going to cover. I'm going to briefly talk about the strategic planning cycle, where we're at in the process, a touch on our goals, and then we will have my team take each of the goals and go over what we got done, what we didn't get done, and where our plans are for next year. So just a reminder, oh, I think, did I skip a slide? Yeah, there we go. So in terms of the process, this is the first year of our 4-year planning cycle. Last year was the year where we gathered input and the board adopted the goals. And this year we're in the final phases of implementing the first year of our plan. We've been evaluating what we've done, thinking about how we need to revise moving forward, and taking a moment to appreciate some of the things that our team was able to accomplish. So year 2 next year 3 after that, and then we go back to start the cycle over again. All right, and just a reminder, we have 5 goals. We're gonna go into each of these, so I'm not gonna spend any time on this slide. And we're gonna jump right into goal 1, and Assistant Superintendent Stevens has goal 1 and goal 2.
Good evening, President Kumar, members of the board and staff. I'm here to outline and share updates for our goal 1, which really focus around teaching and learning and preparing our students and empowering them for a future college or career. With goal 1, as it relates to readiness for college and career, there are a lot more efforts and initiatives than the 8 bullets you see here. The ones that I want to highlight tonight are newer initiatives that we committed to in recent years, specifically for this year. So this year we piloted the youth cinema project at Searles Elementary to a cohort of 5th grade students. This is where we have filmmakers come in and work with our students from all aspects of the art of filmmaking, from script writing to production to film and acting. And our students, one of our films that they produce is going to be featured in LA this summer at the Latino Film Institute Festival. So that's going to be a great honor for them. One of the aspects of why we wanted to bring this project into our schools is not only does it allow for our students to have access to art and filmmaking, but the way it's crafted is support students' language acquisition as well as reading and comprehension skills. We're noticing an improvement from fall to winter just in preliminary data and students' growth, where they're really meeting not just their projected growth, they're exceeding with this cohort. The other programs that we have implemented moving into our 2nd year is UFly, which is a foundational reading program that's aligned to science of reading. We expanded from kindergarten through into 2nd grade this year. The other is our C-STEM program, focused around coding and robotics. Last year was our 1st year, and it's a partnership with UC Davis, and this year is our 2nd year. Some of our efforts have produced really nice results. Our teachers have been really committed in implementing UFly, foundational literacy program. And when we look at the data from fall to winter, nearly 70% of our students are on track being proficient in the early literacy skills. And that's been a great gain for us when we've been looking at about 30% prior to this year. So a lot of kudos goes out to our teachers and being dedicated and implementing the curriculum. With our C-STEM program, this is our 2nd year. We had a cohort of teachers from Hillview Crest and Cesar Chavez that launched it last year. And we moved into expanding this effort with the math courses at Cesar Chavez and the entire school for Hillview Crest. Early results you've heard from Celebration of Schools is that from last year's data, when we look at California dashboard, it was the first time we saw double-digit gains in the area of mathematics for Hillview Crest, and double-digit gains for Cesar Chavez as well. When we're looking at this year's data, not only our students are meeting their growth target in mathematics, they've actually exceeded that by 15% just from fall to winter. I also want to mention this is something we pilot with our algebra teachers at James Logan as well as Conley Carabello this year. And it's 1st year for our teachers to devote to this. We're waiting for some data to share with you. Okay. but the idea is to make math really meaningful and come to life and tie it to engineering for students to have better access, understanding, and application of how that applies to the real world. As you can see, that's one of the reasons with the CSTEM program that we are moving Hillview Crest to be a designated coding and robotics magnet school moving into next school year. Another program we've been working on seventh year, it's our 7th year in Spanish dual immersion and our 5th year in Mandarin immersion. Currently, we have 580 students enrolled, while other districts are closing their programs. We are expanding ours. And I'm proud to say it's because of dedication of the teachers, effort in meeting the needs of the students, and the fidelity of the program. One of the reasons we wanted to create this program, not only to promote biliteracy and biliteracy and being able to have students speak in dual languages moving into the workforce, but it's also to support, retain, and attract other families into New Haven. Since it started, we've been able to attract 215 students from outside of New Haven in our enrollment. So that's been really positive, and it's allowed our elementaries that were really severely in declining enrollment at that time to be one of the 2 largest schools in elementary in our district right now. Another program we're really proud of is our James Logan award-winning speech forensics speech and debate program. Tommy Lindsay and I met a couple of years ago, and we talked about expanding that program to the middle school. And with support from the superintendent, we were able to create and introduce speech and debate courses at both middle school to build a pipeline through to Logan. And I'm happy to say, based on that exposure this year, we have 100 more students signing up with interest in 9th grade for speech and debate, exactly as what we were hoping for when we started that. The other programs that we're happy to expand on is our dual enrollment. We partner with Ohlone, Chabot, and Cal State East Bay this school year. And with Ohlone and Chabot, one of the factors have been that we have offered dual enrollment courses, but at Chabot or Ohlone, which prevented our students from enrollment because of transportation. So what we did was we increased enrollment of these courses directly on the Logan campus. So we had a variety of options of courses that our students have been interested in, from hip hop slam poetry to the art of rock and roll, music of rock and roll. And our students have shared that they're really engaged and interested in the offerings that we have provided. And we're hoping to expand on moving into next year. Partnership with Cal State East Bay really created an opportunity for our students. This partnership allowed for approximately 500 of our seniors at James Logan to have automatic acceptance admission into East Bay. And at a time, between November and February, where it's really stressful time for our seniors to think about next step, having something that's really secure and around Union City, it's been very rewarding to be able to offer that. And last but not least, I want to mention in goal 1 is that I think it was spoke about earlier, but we had our first district-wide professional development day where we provided approximately professional development to 700 staff members. That included a variety of 50 topic items in collaboration with our teacher partner union and developing that day. And I think for our first time, we've learned a lot, but we also created, I think, a culture to sustain that professional development to further engage our students and allow our teachers space to improve their practice. Okay. Next year. So there's still a lot more work to do. For example, we're going to continue looking at new course offerings for Logan. One of the things that we are creating for next school year is, in addition to chemistry as an offering for our 10th grade students, we're offering earth and space science as well. We're partnering with Cognity. Cognity will also provide professional development for our secondary science staff around next-gen science standards and using curriculum and supplemental resources to really focus on that investigation. We recognize through our data that our science passing rate and our science passing rates, so that's an area of focus. Along with that, there are other professional development and coaching areas. We're going to expand our science of reading early literacy focus all the way from kindergarten through 5th grade next year. And we're also bringing back Math Studios to focus on habits of minds, habits of interaction, and allowing student discourse as they're learning math. So those are some upcoming professional development areas for next school year. We're also bringing, I think that's in goal 2, I'll wait for that. The other item is that the state has requested that we approve a reading screener in grades kindergarten through 2. We have a cohort of teachers that are piloting that this year with the idea that we're going to identify a screener for our students for next year. The screener is really to support our teachers and looking at how to differentiate and identify prevention strategies to support our students in the area of reading and comprehension. And then next year as well, we're looking at expanding our Mandarin Emergent program for the first time to middle school. So there will be early planning for that. And last but not least, in our next year initiatives, an area of focus for us will be to build a middle school college partnership. While we expanded our college partnership at the high school level, there are opportunities our students that can actually access as early in 6th grade. So that would be something that we're hoping to build for next school year. Okay, I'm moving into goal 2, and I'm going to go back. Goal 2 is really focused on access and equitable conditions that we create and foster in our school district and classrooms for our students. Some of the areas that we're focusing on this school year is we committed to expanding our mental health services in order for students to receive services during the school day so they can engage and attend school more consistently. This is where we started Daybreak as an added resource, as a telehealth resource. And what we did is we actually used their screener to identify needs early in the school year. So we gave our secondary students an early screener. Approximately 3,800 students took that screener. And out of those 3,800 students, 1,000 students have indicated that they would like some type of mental health services or support. Our counselors mainly, along with other staff, met and connected with all 1,000 of those students and connected them to either Daybreak, Care Solace, or other mental health services on-site or off-site. So we're really proud that we've been able to meet the needs of the students with an early screener and provide teletherapy or in-person therapy for those who need it. And what it also allows us to do is to identify areas where our students are feeling a lot of angst and stress around. A lot of it surrounds relationship and anxiety around assessment, support, and the demands of being in school. So it allows us also to be proactive in working on those areas that really focus around what I'm going to get to is dignity and belonging. And creating fostering a climate where students feel connected to learning. Okay. The other area, the next item I want to talk about is the transition to Dakota Independent Study to New Haven Academy. We spent a few board meetings having that discussion involving our educational partners in that. And is really expanding the opportunity in our academy to offer a more broad program than an independent study program. And with that, with the educational options, we've also expanded our credit recovery opportunities. We have a series of credit recovery options at James Logan for our students. And we have to date 2,800 credits recovered for our students to meet graduation. In our adult school, something they've been working on is a GED testing center. We finally got that approved and it's in place. It's another pathway for our students to receive or our community members to receive a diploma, a certification. And the next one is our Dignity and Belonging Initiative. And this particular initiative is really the umbrella of all our work, really. When we look at how we can promote students' academic achievement is by engaging our students and making them feel a part and included in our system. And under this initiative, we expanded workshop for staff members around equity on cultural sensitive practices, engagement of students, and we've also expanded this with our parents. One of the outcomes from that Dignity and Belonging Initiative is for us to conduct additional equity walk classroom visits and walks. We've always done classroom visits and walks and look at ways in which we can improve our practice, connect with students. This year, what we did is we created one tool that is used district-wide that every administrator and staff would use when we go in so we can monitor progress and look at patterns of progress over time. And so far to date, we've conducted 3,800 classroom visits. This tool allows us to look at practice, but it also allows us to conduct student interviews. So we can see how they feel about the learning and their learning environment through a series of questions. So it gives our administrators as well as our teacher leaders data to focus on what's working in our system and how to further enhance depending on areas of opportunity they see at those particular school. And as a district level, we're able to see that data across the district and look for trends and patterns. Okay. The last item here is CSAs. We were noticed by the state that we have an over-identification of our African-American students in special education. And through looking at more equitable assessments, putting in prevention and intervention services, we've actually exited out of CSAs without over-identification. That is something we've been really proud to announce. Not many districts were able to do that. So there's been a real intentional focus, not just this year, but in the prior year. Okay. And with that, I'm going to move into preparations for next year. Again, really focusing on dignity and belonging. And through that work and the data that we've been collecting, we noticed that positive behavior intervention support is something we want to bring to our schools, starting at the elementary level in order to improve climate. A lot of times when students don't feel a sense of belonging and with peers or with the adults in the system, it's around climate and the culture that we create at each school and each classroom. So to build that alignment, we're bringing PBIS to all elementary schools for next year. We're going to continue on social emotional learning and focusing on that curriculum and looking at that data and how students perceive themselves, how they are able to connect with others, build healthy relationships, and solve conflicts in a peaceful and a collaborative way. And that social emotional piece ties really nicely to PBIS. We're going to further refine our equity walk tool. I think this is our first year. We kept the structure the same. We're getting some feedback that we can make some adjustments through this learning year to enhance that tool even to be more useful for next year. We're going to continue a series of professional development to continue with that, not only with a full day release, but offering release days and after school on topics that our teachers have filled out a survey from the March survey. So when we had that release day in March 14th, we asked for future topics that our teachers are interested in developing further around. And we're using that data to create these professional development opportunities in 25-26. And we'll continue to expand our college and career pathways as well by bringing more programs and opportunities for our students. And that is goal 2. And I'm going to turn it over to Derek McNamara.
Okay. President Kumar, members of the board, Dr. Thompson. So everyone knows in the district now, which is kind of great. Strategic planning experience, I don't know that it always sticks with people, but I think everyone in the system knows that goal 3 is about employees. How do we support employees in the system? For the last many years, especially the first round of strategic planning, really supporting our employees, trying to make them feel more connected and us more of a family again is really kind of the goal. And I do think that the first 3 years was very successful. Now, though, this year, the kickoff, if you remember, was really about, okay, how do we do kind of the next level? How do we empower people to actually feel better about the work, maybe find other opportunities within the work? So some of the things that happen in terms of the action initiatives is we want to make sure that the employees are good first. And I think we've seen, Camila Green and I in my department have seen more people going out with kind of mental issues, with sick issues, and really having ways to support them so they can feel good about the work has really been a focus this year. I know Camila deals with it more than in any year that I've seen. So the Employee Assistance Program at Care Solace, and she has a new health and wellness resources section in the newsletter she puts out every month. And that really has had a lot of hits, and a lot of people actually guess follow-up of personnel for information related to that, which has been really great. One of the things that, if you've ever watched the show The Bear, in that second season, there's a book that's referenced, and it's called Unreasonable. In the PD day on March 14th, the superintendent asked, what can we do? Because we know people stay in a district because the teachers, right? That's probably the most important thing why kids and families stay. But one of the things that we see in surveys is that the office staff has a huge impact also on retention of people we want in our system, right? So the first feeling that they have about an office when they walk in can really determine if they're going to stay. And so one of the things we did is a whole belonging and dignity piece. Unreasonable, the whole premise of the book that's referenced in The Bear is to give people more than they expect. And so we had all the clerical staff in the system invited. We actually, on that PD day, Camila, Jen Hawkins, and I did a full hour-and-a-half session with them about the difference that they make, that taking the extra step. What you do at 8 o'clock in the morning when you greet people should be the same as it is at 3:30 when you leave, because it's hard to do that. And so by the end of the sessions, it was really, really great. I wasn't sure how it was going to go, but it was really well received. People are asking us afterwards if we're going to do a follow-up. They were actually asking, can other people in other departments be sent to this? Because it really is sometimes people feel like, you know what, we're going through the motions. I'm just getting my paycheck. Work is hard enough. But when they realize the impact they make, it actually empowers people a little bit. So that was really a great experience that we had. The next one is that I'm just going to not go through all of them, but to talk about some of the highlights. Promoting from within is one of the things that we've been focusing on. The lead administrative cohort is something that we started this year where we've asked people to be nominated by their principals, or if they want to be a part of future administrator cohort. What we did is 4 sessions, 2.5-hour sessions. Camila, Zeta, and I run these sessions once a month. And we weren't sure how it was going to go at first, to tell you the truth. It has been one of the best experiences I've had. It feels like this energy in the room, kind of like when new teachers are in a room, that's probably the most special. This group of people, you can see that they want to be future leaders. And the fact that we're actually trying to cultivate that, we've had a really hard time finding APs from outside. We have the good people that we need right here, and you could really see it. And that cohort is a really great example of that. So that's one of the things the superintendent had asked, why don't we try that? And it's been a great idea. One of the things that's also happened is the paraprofessional exam, the way that we've done recruitment. We've actually gone to, Camila has worked with all the different principals and the special ed director to go to more job fairs this year than ever before, not just for teachers, but for paras. we're almost fully staffed for paras, which is pretty amazing. And that's something I know is a big deal to teachers as well. The induction program speaks for itself. And then there's a career advancement piece in the newsletter as well that highlights, hey, if you're thinking about this is the test you need to take. This is the credential you need. We can help you with pathways to that. So that's one of the focuses from my department. On fostering the talent systems, it's great to have a 3-year contract. We have a reopener for next year. One of the things you probably hear around the state and around the county is many districts are still bargaining for this year. And one of the things that our partners, our labor partners, like the ones here tonight, they see that we are working together and it's better. We want it to be better, and it's really better than a lot of our neighbors who are really struggling with some of the things we did a few years ago. And we don't want to deal with that. We want to focus on the positives, and we really do appreciate that relationship. One of the things that's also happening is that the high school recruitment, I actually did 3 sessions with a new teacher group, and I met with them for 3 hours. Jody Schwartzford runs this, and at the end of the session, they asked me millions of questions about what it takes to be a teacher. But at the end of it, all of them take the para test. Jody has them do that. And many of them are telling me how they're going to college in the fall, but over the summer, they are going to be paras. They want to work during summer school as paras. And then potentially, if they're going to Cal State East Bay, get a part-time job in the district as paras. They were so excited. It was just great. It was a great experience for me. At the end of the year, it's always stressful, but you know what? That's why we do this. The last initiative is, if you remember, that celebrating, pushing out. We used to do it centrally more the first kind of round. This now we're pushing it out, but we did do a big kickoff, but it was really to kind of set a tone. The superintendent really wanted us to put on something that felt good again, kind of like the old days. Everybody had t-shirts from the different colors and the different sites, and we're really trying to figure out a way to do something similar to the beginning of the year kickoff. The Employee of the Year process, both unions have been great about having people on the committees to actually pick the people who go to the county. And that process we're going to have in Cheers for the Years is next week on the 15th. So hopefully you can attend. The New Haven magazine that started this year, the personalized employee assistance program. And then there's also a celebrate and appreciate employee recognition portion in the newsletter, again, that Camila puts together every month, almost by herself. She's pretty awesome. For next year, I want to take all the money that we have for this goal and actually build gardens like Yaz, actually. I really like that idea. One of the things that we're also looking at, though, is trying to figure out ways to build on what we did this year. The cohort, as you see for many of these things, we are trying to figure out, should we continue? We thought the cohort was just for 1 year. The cohort feedback, they want a second year. They want to go deeper. They want to shadow principals. They want to see what it takes to actually get your credential. What can we do to walk them through actually filling out applications? They want to do everything to get there. And I was pretty inspired by that. So that's something we haven't made a decision on, but for the next 2 months, Camila and I are trying to figure out on all these things, what are we going to do for next year? Because right now I will tell you for many of these things, it hasn't been finally decided. Okay, for goal 4, that is.
Thank you. All right, goal 4 is about our school and family and community connections. This goal is all about building family engagement to support our students. Some of the highlights for this school year is that we've met in previous years established parent groups. And this year, what we did was we connected all our parent groups together under the Dignity and Belonging workshops and build cross collaboration of our parent groups and to strengthen the partnership with the schools. You see that we have a series of parent workshops listed, and our family service assistants are providing greater outreach in order to connect to our families into those services and tracking impact, whether it's attendance or suspension rates. Another area that we expanded on was the after-school opportunities for our students and summer school opportunities for students under ELOP. And there we build parent engagement opportunities, and we also partner with the Boys and Girls Club this year, which allow us to take 100 families off the wait list for enrollment for after school. So that's been really positive. In goal 3, we already talked about this in creating a welcoming environment. And the last item here is about the development of a new app for our families next year, so they can access all the information in one space. I'm going to turn over for next year to John Matos.
Thank you. Good evening, President Kumar, members of the board. I'm going to finish this off for the night as we talk about goal 4, preparing for next year. One of the things we're continuing to do is to make sure our families understand the multitude of ways that their student can graduate. Logan is wonderful. It serves almost everybody's needs with the breadth of programs that it has, but for a number of our students, other programs are a better fit. So either that being at Conley or New Haven Academy or elsewhere. And we do have a number of different diploma options as well. So counselors are making sure that our students are well aware of those options. As was said earlier, we're going to continue to work on really supporting and encouraging welcoming environments. We also have, we're working to continue to build capacity for our parent groups, our D3A, Latino parent, Punjabi parent group, making sure that they are doing what they need to meet the needs of their communities. FSAs, we've had our family service assistants pretty much centrally located and out of the Union City Family Center. And really next year, we're going to be looking at staging them out of their individual school sites, really giving them an opportunity to better respond to the needs of their sites and their students and families. So we're excited about that. And as Ms. Stevens shared, the app, the New Haven app is just about ready. We're going to do a soft launch, hoping for summer school, but it will be ready to go for the fall. We're very excited. Mr. DeLapo has been working with the Apogee folks. I think we're going to be staged very well for that. So that's very exciting. Goal 5, safe, innovative, and sustainable learning environments. Hits a couple of things: food services, safety, clean, modern, and learning environments, and maintaining a stable budget. And this year, even though, wow, it feels like 100 years ago, it's good to remember that we passed Measure N, and which is great. And thank you, voters. And Measure N is going to help us, hit a lot of those goals in terms of safety and in terms of modern and learning environments. So that's great. We have finished the second phase of our video safety surveillance project. So all schools and district properties are set and online, and we're just finishing up. Our director of facilities, Eric Chu, is working with vendors to fine tune, maybe add a camera or two to make sure we have all the coverage that we need. As we've shared before, for the first time in over a decade, we actually saw an increase in enrollment for 24-25. We're ecstatic about that. We're absolutely thrilled. We're hoping it is a sign of good things to come. And what it really does allow us to do is build in some budget stability. And as I've shared in a couple of different meetings, that increase in enrollment is not by accident. It's the work of all of us to really make sure that people know what's going on in New Haven and welcoming them to our district. In our April 15th meeting, we shared with you the demographers report that we will be using to kind of plan for staffing and budget for the next few years. So that's going to help. And we're also excited, and I think you could see why, giving the presentation by Yaz earlier. Our students are starting to their approval of our lunches has been increasing over the last couple of years, and we definitely want to build on that. We're excited to do so. So for next year, Food Services is going to continue to do their pop-ups to really try out new food options for kids and let them try them. And if they're popular and they work and they meet everybody's needs, to get those incorporated into a regular menu rotation. We are working on, the big middle school field projects. And as part of those field projects, we have built in and included those pickup and drop off zones, which is really exciting. We are, for the field projects, for the Cesar Chavez Field Project, we expect to start digging over the summer, and we're still working with our due to kind of some solar panels that we inherited from the city on the IVC project. We're a little further behind, but we expect to get that underway next year as well. We just recently chose our architect for the James Logan modernization project. Very exciting. We interviewed a number of firms. It was fascinating to see what their take was on solving some of the challenges that we presented them. And we're really happy with the architect that we've chosen. And so they will be working with us and working with representatives from the community to really kind of get some feedback on what the community, what students really want to see in their, newly revitalized Logan campus. That's exciting. And besides the Measure N monies going towards Logan, which a lot of them will, we're also going to be doing projects across the district. For example, you'll see our middle schools that are going to be painted over the summer and give them a fresh coat and looking good. We'll be doing technology upgrades. We'll be doing HVAC lighting upgrades. It's going to be very exciting next few years. So that's awesome. And with that wraps up our presentation for the end of the year.
Thank you. Thank you to all the assistant superintendents. Superintendent Thompson, did you have something to add?
I just wanted to thank my team. It's been I'm very fortunate to have a very good team that supports us with this work. And as you can see, there's a lot that we've done, but still a lot to do. So thank you, everybody, and we'll take any questions at this time.
Do any board members have questions? All right, seeing none, we will move on to item 10.1, items from the board and superintendent. I will start from the far end. Student trustee Brenna Floor.
Good evening, everyone. New Haven Day on April 26th was like phenomenal. I love seeing all of our students perform. Last week was also senior decision week, where our college and career center hosted like various spirit days, like a calming redirection day, and a really like awesome just like decision day where seniors were able to like get snacks, like take photos, and just really just enjoy themselves. Last Friday, leadership actually hosted a powder puff game, and juniors dominated 19-0 and overall it was just like a really fun event for everyone involved. I was a cheerleader, by the way, so if y'all saw me. Today, New Haven School Foundation came to our school to host a scholarship luncheon, which was just like, it really just like solidified in people's minds that they're getting a lot of money for college, and just like really helped them out. And leadership is also working on just like getting posters done and like getting volunteers for the Special Olympics this Friday, and also we're prepping for a prom on Saturday. And I just wanted to thank like the rest of the education board for being so just like warm and welcoming. It just like really made it easy for me to step into my role as a student board member. And I've saved the best announcement for last. So we actually have a special guest attending this board meeting. This guest is very well known among her peers, one of the most outgoing people I know, and it's just like so passionate to like serve their fellow students. So can I get a round of applause for Logan's next student board member for the NHUSD Board of Education, Bella Gonzalez. Bella, you wanted to say something, right? Yeah.
Hello? Oh, okay. Hi, everyone. My name is Bella Lulusa Gonzalez, and I'm a current junior at James Logan High School. Next year, I'll be a senior, and I'm so incredibly excited to serve as the New Haven Unified School District Student Body Board representative. Just a little bit about me. I've been in leadership at Logan for the past 3 years, and I previously attended CCMS, where I was also in leadership for 1 year. And I'm just so incredibly excited and grateful for this opportunity. I've been looking at this position for such a long time, and so I'm just so excited to see what the next year will hold, and I'm looking forward to working with all of you. And once again, shout out to Benji. It's been so great knowing you for these past 3 years, and being able to see you serve as the current board member has been such a treat. He is such an incredible student, both at leadership and here on the board. And yeah, it's so nice to meet all of you, and I am looking forward to stealing his seat. So yeah, bye, thank you.
Thank you. Student trustee Vaca.
These past few weeks, seniors have been just getting ready for graduation, getting finals done, applying for college, etc. Upcoming, we have like our senior breakfast, senior hike, cap decorating, and other activities like that for our seniors. And yeah, that's really it. And then we're graduating in about 2 weeks. Thank you.
Exciting. Trustee Gonzalez.
Yes, Bella Gonzalez is not related to me, so congratulations. You can refer to me as old Gonzalez and student Gonzalez. I have nothing significant to report other than the, have you seen the New Haven magazine, how amazing it is? Yeah, so it includes like all staff. It's not just teachers or any particular order. You know, it's Logan Live, it's the band, it's got heavy with former alumni, and it's great learning their stories. For example, Julianne Hampton, who happens to be from the technology department, Tony's daughter, and I didn't know how deep his family roots are in our district, but you know, it is great to read their stories and to learn about them. Yeah, just I also mentioned to the superintendent they should run a story about and the most staff in the year class of 1992, and there should be a story about them because they're the most New Haven staff heavy members. And so, yeah, you know, if you haven't read it, read the New Haven magazine.
Thank you. Trustee Irby.
Oh boy, I have a whole bunch of fun stuff. Our forensics team just came back from the state finals. We have 3 new state champions coming from James Logan High School. Andrew Hernandez and Marvin Huber in duo interpretation. And then Emily, AKA Millie for Tunac. She's an oral interpretation state champion. She's also the first Logan Forensics who's won 3 titles, 3 state titles. She's also the first person in the state of California, forensics individual, to win 3 separate individual state championships in 2023, 2 in 2023, and this year in 2024. So we have a lot to be proud of with our forensics team. I've completed my tour of elementary school sites and been learning a lot of new lessons on how to be a trustee. Thank you, elementary school teachers, for schooling me. I appreciate it. And I did forward information about concerns at each site to our, not just our board members, but to our superintendent, and hopefully we'll be acting on it in future PDs, et cetera. Also, I have participated in my first Coast to Coast, where President Kumar and myself went to Washington, D.C. to advocate on 4 specific areas. The most important, I think, was the whole idea and how the federal government should be supporting our special education population and our teachers in recruitment and retention, everything down the lines, titles 1 through 5. As you well know, there's threats everywhere, and we need strong advocates in our Congress to fight for the programs that we find that are valuable for here, not just for New Haven, but for the rest of the state of California. Let's see, at Cyril's, I also attended the Dia de los Niños event at Cyril's, very well attended. It was a great time. There were not only just families from the Cyril's population, but I recognized quite a number of teachers from across the district participating in the event. It was well attended. It got chilly towards the end, but the food was great and the entertainment was fantastic. Let's see. Also, last Saturday I attended. I want to thank the dance teacher, Miss. Now I forgot her name. But the showcase, the student showcase, dance, and the seniors celebration. Again, you know, I understand we have very creative students on our Logan campus. It was great to see a wide range of student participation. Students with special needs actually were on the dance floor at the PAC Center dancing, and it was fantastic. And then again, I participated, I attended with Derek McNamara, our Mission Valley Special Education local plan area, our Community Advisory Committee, recognizing our teachers in our district, not just our teachers, but our paras who play an incredible role with our students in our area. And it was fantastic to see that New Haven was very well represented with the three school districts in our area, Fremont, Newark, and again, New Haven. Thank you.
Thank you. Trustee Freeberg?
I don't have as much as Pat. I did have the pleasure of attending New Haven Day for a big chunk of the day. It was great. Meeting a lot of the teachers, administrators, families. It was just all around. I heard it was our best year ever. And the dance and all the different entertainment and activities. It was a really great thing to participate in.
Thank you. Vice President Rafay?
So first, like I had a wonderful time reading Swimming Toward a Dream at Kitayama Elementary. And thanks to Ms. Shufta, who had asked me to do that. And another meaningful opportunity that I had was to visiting special ed class for adult transitional education program, where students ages from 18 to 22 develop functional life skills under outstanding teachers. These young adults, when leave the district, they are ready to be employed. That was very impressive. And there's such a wonderful connection between the school district and the school foundation, as these students, when learning the basic life skills such as operating a washer and dryer, as well as refrigerator, to make basic meals and learn to sell what they prepare. And like all those things work, New Haven School Foundation, with their grant, all those stuff was bought. The refrigerator and the washing machine and everything. It's really nice, all the stuff that happened. And like, so that's all for me to report for now. Thank you.
Thank you, Vice President Rafay. As for me, I had an incredibly busy 2 weeks. As you know, I co-chaired the New Haven Fun Run. It was a great event, great turnout. We had teachers, community members. Thank you for your support. We had close to 275 participants, which was amazing. It was record-breaking for us, so that was cool. And I wanted to thank Superintendent Thompson and his team for all the support for sharing New Haven Day. We could not have done it without you. Since we have a Scoutmaster in the room, I also want to thank our local Scout troops. They volunteered. They were the course monitors. They stayed for 3 hours just, so they could point the runners in the right direction for those 20 minutes. It was incredible. Thank you. Thank you. And then secondly, I had the honor of representing New Haven Unified for federal advocacy at DC with Trustee Irby. And I did want to share a couple of things even with our board members. So they shared with us the top issues in public education today across the nation. And those were special ed, mental health, literacy, and teacher recruitment and retention. Those were the 4 big ones. But the good thing was, if you look at our strategic goals, New Haven is on top of this. So that really made me happy. So shout out to our staff and our teachers. And beyond that, so we spent the first 2 days planning and preparing. And on the 3rd day, we went and actually did some advocacy on the Hill. We were focused on 2 big things. One was our unfunded mandates. Those really impact us, like IDEA is not being funded. And we're spending a pretty big percentage from our general fund on it. And we need federal funding for that. That really needs to be funded. So we advocated for that. And teacher housing and workforce issues. I teach in a public institution as well, so I feel the pain points. So we did do some advocacy for that. So we're hoping it helps, but we'll continue efforts. And I highly recommend board members who have not had the opportunity to do this to try and attend next year and continue advocacy on our behalf. That would be great. That's all I have. Superintendent Thompson.
All right, well, end of the year, and there's quite a bit going on. Just a reminder, we mentioned at the last board meeting that at Hillview Crest, they're having a coding and forensics parent night on the 13th at 6 p.m. So any parents that are interested in that program up there, they're welcome to attend. And then we're having a school showcase on the 15th, the Thursday, at 9 o'clock in the morning, where we've invited city officials and others to come and see what it looks like in action. So that's pretty exciting. And then I have a series of thank yous. As President Kumar pointed out, New Haven Day was a collaborative effort between the Schools Foundation and a lot of volunteers. Thank you for all the troops. Runners would truly be probably still running out there somewhere if it wasn't for them. It's a very difficult course. So thank you for all of that. It's kind of fitting that we have our end of the year presentation for the district at this meeting because it's also Teacher Appreciation Week. And the reality is, we coordinate the work at the district level, but it's carried out at our school sites with our staff, in particular our teachers. So thank you, teachers, for everything you do. We love our partnership, and we want to continue it moving forward. So thank you for that. Schools Foundation, incredible. If you were at the luncheon today, hundreds of thousands of dollars of scholarships. I can't believe the job they do, so I'm thankful for all of them and their efforts. James Logan High School Forensics Team, Trustee Irby mentioned it all there, and we had 64 kids that qualified to go to that event, and it's amazing, that program. So I'm thankful for all the work that the teachers and staff and everybody who volunteers and helps with that. Student board members, thank you both. Great board members this year, great representatives of your schools, and it was fun working with you. As Trustee Gonzalez says, I can't believe it's over. I can't believe it happens that fast. And then I had the benefit of attending a superintendent's conference Thursday and Friday of last week with superintendents from across the state. And I can tell you that we are in such a good place in our district compared to districts up and down the state. I walked out of that feeling very thankful for our parents, our staff, our students, and I'm very thankful to be in New Haven because we are in such a better place than most districts across the state. So that's it. Those are my thanks, and at it.
Great. Thank you, Superintendent Thompson. We're going to move on to item 11, committee reports. We'll begin with the Finance, Technology, and Facilities Committee.
We have nothing to report at this time.
All right, thank you.
But we will be having a meeting at the end of the month, May 27th.
Great, thank you. Next, we have Communication and Advocacy. Our next meeting is scheduled for May 28th at 4 p.m. Policy Review, our next meeting is scheduled for May 27th at 4:30 p.m. I had May 27th. Okay. We will confirm that.
Policy meeting is on Tuesday, the 27th at 4:30.
As for other committee reports, Trustee Freeberg and I attended the joint NHUSD and Union City Council meeting yesterday, and Trustee Freeberg will report out.
Yes, it was a good meeting. Lots of exciting things coming up. We're getting enhanced bus shelters starting Friday, June 14th. They talked about there's going to be a series of district dialogue series coming in July and August. There's also going to be a State of the City event in October and National Night Out on August 5th. It was a pretty interesting demographic study with projections for all of New Haven District. And basically that was about it. Anything I forgot?
About it. They shared some data on the ridership. They shared some data on the ridership of the bus routes, the school routes that we have, and that has had an increase, so that's great. It's looking good. But yeah, that was about it. Thank you, Trustee Freeberg. Any other committee reports? Vice President Rafay.
So Mission Valley ROP's next meeting scheduled for May 15th. And and there's thrilled to report that out of 11 ROP awardees this year, 5 are from our school district. And for the New Haven School Foundation, this morning, the Pathway to Success Scholarship presentation ceremony took place, and over $255,000 were given in scholarships to qualifying Logan and Conley Caraballo students. About over 250 students got those scholarships. And on Tuesday, May 13th, over $126,000 will be given in classroom grants to the district teachers who submitted the application. And our next meeting is scheduled for May 19th. And that's it. Thank you.
Thank you, Vice President Rafay. Any other committee updates? All right, seeing none, we will now move on to action items. Team, we're just going to switch to our traditional way of voting since we're more efficient than technology. We'll start with item 12.1. May I have a motion and second to adopt resolution number 056-2425, Declaration of Need for Fully Qualified Educators, FY 2025-26.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed say nay. Abstentions? Motion carries. Item 12.2, can I have a motion and second to adopt to approve the memorandum of understanding with KYO Autism Therapy for the 2025 school year?
So moved.
Second.
Discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed say nay. Abstentions? Motion carries. That's it. We're going to move on to item 13. Are there any items from consent agenda that any board members would like to pull for a separate vote? All right, seeing none, may I have a motion and second to approve items 13.1 through 13.12?
So moved.
Second.
Discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed say nay. Abstentions? Motion carries. Item 14, since there was nothing removed from consent, we're just going to move on to item 15. Item 15 is about assessment of governance procedures and protocols. Does anyone have any comments? All right. Seeing none, we'll move on to item 16. Do any board members have any request for staff? Vice President Rafay.
Right. So for me, racism and othering has always been prevalent in the society. Our school district has been proactive in dealing with it, as we have advisory committees for African-American students, Latino students, Punjabi students. My request is to encourage and form Asian Advisory Committee and Middle Eastern North American Advisory Committee, which is called MENA. As with the current political climate, everyone needs the sense of belonging. Please let me know how we can make it happen.
Okay, let's see. So there's a request is to form 2 new parent groups. And the first one is what again?
Asian. First is there's one Asian Advisory Committee, and the other one is Middle Eastern North African Advisory Committee, which is it's already there, MENA.
So are you thinking like AAPI, Asian American Pacific Islander? Is that or just Asian Advisory?
We can do that, AAPI, yeah. Because we don't have that currently in our district. No.
And then I'm sorry, can you repeat the second group again?
Middle Eastern, North African, Advisory Committee. The acronym was MENA.
Okay. I'd have to explore if there's interest and if we have enough people to, it's sometimes difficult to get people to come to committees. So
Right.
we'd have to explore whether or not that's feasible. So I think that would be something we could do if there's consensus.
Thank you.
Do we have consensus? Yes.
I'd like to know more about the specifics of the particular groups you're suggesting.
Because
Like, it's just a little unclear to me.
like currently we do not really have a representation of Asian Americans as well as Middle Eastern like Americans in our school, like as a committee. Like but right now we do have events for African American, for Latinos, and for and like there's another ones, Punjabi. So basically, but we do not have any of their representation. And the big chunk of students are belonging to those communities.
And there's interest?
Definitely, I'm sure
Okay.
they'd be.
All right. So the item, to be clear, is what we'll do is we will determine the feasibility of establishing 2 new committees as described.
Thank you.
Do you have enough direction?
I think so.
Great. All right, seeing no further business, this meeting is adjourned at 8:02 PM. Thank you.